struggling single mom saw her first love at an airport, not knowing he was now a millionaire CEO. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's dive into today's story. Our story begins at a busy airport terminal, where a woman's life is about to take an unexpected turn. Meet Emily, a struggling single mom who's been juggling her job at a coffee shop and caring for her young son. She's been working tirelessly to make ends meet, all while hiding her deepest fears of failure and loneliness. Her life hasn't been easy, but she pushes through, hoping for a break, hoping for a better future for herself and her son. But today, something unexpected is about to happen. As she rushes through the crowded terminal, carrying her son's backpack and juggling a coffee cup, her eyes lock with someone across the room. Her heart skips a beat. Could it be him? Could it really be him? She blinks, her thoughts racing back to the past. It's been years, but she recognizes him instantly. It's Jake, her first love, the man she once thought she'd spend forever with. But back then, they were just kids. She never imagined this moment would come, not after everything that happened. She hasn't seen him since that fateful day when their lives went in completely different directions. He looks the same, but different at the same time. His confident, well-dressed demeanor contrasts sharply with the young, carefree man she once knew. He's standing tall, holding a briefcase in one hand, scanning the crowd. Her breath catches in her throat. She takes a step forward, unsure of what to do. But then, as if drawn by some invisible force, she finds herself walking toward him. "Jake?" she calls out softly, her voice barely above a whisper. He turns, and their eyes meet. For a split second, it's like time stands still. He blinks, his expression unreadable. And then, just as quickly, he smiles a smile that's all too familiar. "Emily," he says, his voice warm, though there's a slight hesitation in his tone. "It's been a long time." She nods, trying to keep her composure, but her heart is pounding in her chest. It feels surreal, like some kind of dream. The man standing before her is not the same Jake she once knew. This Jake is different. He's dressed in a sharp suit, his hair neatly styled, exuding a confidence and sophistication that she never imagined. As they exchange pleasantries, Emily tries to ignore the flood of emotions rushing back. How did he get here? What happened to the man she once loved? And why does it feel like she's the only one who hasn't moved forward in life? She clears her throat, her mind racing. "I didn't expect to run into you here," she says, trying to keep the conversation light. "What have you been up to all these years?" Jake's smile fades for a moment, and his eyes seem to cloud over. "It's a long story," he says with a sigh, glancing down at his watch. "But I've been doing well. Really well." He pauses, his gaze softening. "I'm actually here for business, heading to a meeting, but I'd love to catch up sometime. Maybe we could grab a coffee?" Emily hesitates, her heart sinking. This isn't the reunion she imagined. This isn't the boy she once knew. But the pull of nostalgia is strong. She nods, a faint smile tugging at her lips. "That sounds nice," she says, though she can't shake the feeling that something is off. As Jake starts to walk away, Emily watches him go, 1,000 questions swirling in her mind. What happened to him? And more importantly, what happened to them? Before she can gather her thoughts, her phone rings. It's a call she's been dreading all week. Her landlord. The rent's overdue. And just like that, reality comes crashing down. She's reminded that the world hasn't changed for her. But maybe, just maybe, meeting Jake again is the start of something bigger. Maybe it's fate. She pushes the thought away, focusing on her son who's tugging at her sleeve, eager to head home. But as they walk through the airport, Emily can't help but glance back at Jake one last time. Little does she know, this encounter is just the beginning of a story that will change her life forever. After the brief exchange at the airport, Emily can't shake off the overwhelming feeling that something has shifted in her life. As she watches Jake disappear into the crowd, the reality of the situation sinks in. She thought she had moved on, that her life was well on track. But seeing him again after all these years stirs up emotions she thought she buried long ago. She looks down at her son, clutching his hand tightly as they walk out of the terminal, and tries to push aside the whirlwind of memories and thoughts flooding her mind. Back at home, the weight of her responsibilities hits her full force. The rent is overdue, her phone bill's coming in, and the list of things to do feels endless. But the sight of her son's smiling face reminds her of why she keeps going. She can't afford to let distractions, especially something as complex as the past, take over. But despite her best efforts, she finds herself replaying the encounter with Jake in her head. He looked so different, yet so familiar, and the way he smiled at her, it almost felt like nothing had changed. It's only when she sits down at her small kitchen table that the reality of the situation hits her. Jake wasn't just a familiar face from her past. He's someone completely different now. Someone who probably doesn't even remember the girl he once knew. As she watches her son play in the next room, Emily shakes off the nagging feeling that she's somehow still holding on to a life she doesn't have anymore. The next few days pass in a blur of work, errands, and her usual routine. But her thoughts keep drifting back to Jake. Was it just coincidence that they ran into each other, or was there something more? The thought is absurd. She doesn't have time for that kind of fantasy. But deep down, she can't help but wonder. If Jake really had changed, could he offer her the kind of support she needed? Could he see past the years and the differences in their lives to find the connection they once had? She shakes her head, trying to rid herself of these thoughts. She doesn't need anyone but herself to make it through. At least that's what she keeps telling herself. But then, 2 weeks later, Emily receives an unexpected message. It's from Jake. The text simply reads, "I hope you're doing well. I've been thinking about our brief conversation at the airport. Would you like to meet for coffee sometime?" Emily stares at the message for a long time, unsure of what to make of it. She didn't expect to hear from him again. She wonders why he reached out. Was it just politeness, or was there more to it? She wants to ignore it, move on with her life, but something inside her tells her to respond. After a few minutes of hesitation, she types back, "Sure, I'd like that." A part of her is nervous, unsure of what meeting him again will bring, but another part of her feels an undeniable pull. She remembers how easily they talked back at the airport, how it felt so natural, as if no time had passed. A few days later, they meet at a quiet cafe in the city. Emily arrives early, nervously tapping her fingers on the table. She's dressed casually, trying to look approachable, but inside, she feels like she's about to meet someone completely new. When Jake walks in, it's impossible not to notice the stark difference between him and the man she once knew. He's more polished now, dressed in a well-tailored suit, his confidence radiating. He's no longer the awkward young man she once shared dreams with. Instead, he's a successful businessman, a man with a purpose. He smiles when he sees her, and for a moment, everything feels familiar again. They exchange pleasantries, the usual small talk. But as the conversation deepens, Emily finds herself opening up more than she expected. She tells him about her life, about the struggles she's faced raising her son on her own. She can see the flicker of understanding in his eyes, but she wonders if he truly grasps how different their worlds are now. She's not the young woman he once knew. She's a mother, a survivor, someone who's learned the hard way what it means to fight for what she has. As they talk, Emily can't help but notice how easy it is to fall back into their old rhythm. Jake listens intently, laughing at her jokes, sharing his own stories, and the connection between them feels genuine. It's as if time hasn't passed at all. But then, just as the conversation takes a more serious turn, Jake leans in slightly, his expression softening. "Emily," he says, his voice low, "there's something I need to tell you." Her heart skips a beat, and she suddenly feels nervous. What could he possibly need to tell her? Is this the part where he tells her that he's moved on, that the man she knew doesn't exist anymore? Or is it something else? She waits, breathless, as he takes a deep breath. "I'm a CEO now," he says, his tone cautious but steady. "I work for a company I started a few years ago. I know this may come as a surprise, but I just wanted to be honest with you. I didn't want you to think I was just some guy you met at the airport." Emily blinks, processing the words. She's shocked, but somehow, she's not entirely surprised. Jake had always been ambitious, but hearing it out loud makes her realize just how far apart their lives have diverged. She smiles weakly, unsure of what to say. "I guess I had no idea," she says softly. There's a brief silence, and she feels an unfamiliar mix of emotions: pride for him, sadness for the person she once was, and a strange sense of hope that maybe, just maybe, there's still a chance for them. She wonders what happens next. Does she just continue on with her life, or does this unexpected meeting mean something more? The conversation moves on, but Emily can't shake the feeling that something has shifted. She's not sure where this is going, but for the first time in a long while, she feels a spark of possibility. As the days pass after their coffee meeting, Emily finds herself thinking about Jake more and more, unable to shake the feelings he has stirred inside her. She's never been one to dwell on the past, but seeing him again brings everything back: the memories, the lost time, and the what-ifs. He's not just the man she once knew. He's someone entirely new, someone who has accomplished so much, and she can't help but feel a sense of awe mixed with a little envy. How did he go from the man she once loved to a powerful CEO? What happened to the person who once shared dreams and laughter with her? She lies awake at night, staring at the ceiling, questioning everything. Can they really have a future together now? Her world is so different from his, and the weight of reality feels heavier than ever. But despite the doubts swirling in her mind, there's a part of her that can't help but hope that somehow, after all these years, they could find their way back to each other. Emily tries to push these thoughts aside, focusing on her daily responsibilities. Her son needs her job needs her, and she has no time for the distractions of a fantasy. Yet she can't stop herself from replaying their conversation over and over, especially his confession about being a CEO. She's proud of him, but there's an unfamiliar pang in her chest as she realizes how much he's changed. He's not just the man she once knew, but someone far beyond her reach. Or is he? A few more days pass, and life continues as usual, with work, bills, and the constant hum of daily life. Emily is doing her best to stay focused, but every time her phone buzzes, her heart skips a beat. She wonders if it's Jake, wondering if he's thinking about her too. And then, one afternoon, her phone lights up with a new message. It's from him. I know you've probably got a lot on your plate, but I'd love to see you again. Would you be interested in coming to one of my company's charity events this weekend? It would be great to catch up, and I think you'd really enjoy it. She stares at the message, feeling a mixture of excitement and anxiety. A charity event? She's never been to anything like that before, and she certainly doesn't belong in that world. She's a single mom, struggling to make ends meet. She doesn't have the wardrobe, the connections, or the confidence to fit into a high society event like the one Jake is inviting her to. But at the same time, the thought of seeing him again, of stepping into his world, makes her heart race. It feels like a chance to reclaim something she's lost, a chance to be part of his life again, even if it's just for a moment. After much back and forth in her mind, she finally decides to go. She knows it's a risk, but she also knows that if she doesn't take it, she'll regret it. So, she responds, "I'd love to come. Thank you for the invitation." A few days later, Emily finds herself standing in front of her closet, staring at the clothes. She has nothing fancy, nothing worthy of a charity gala. She sighs, feeling the weight of the situation. She can't just show up in her usual work clothes. She needs to look the part at least. So, she heads to a nearby thrift store, hoping to find something that will make her feel confident enough to attend the event. After searching through the racks for what feels like hours, she finally finds a simple, elegant dress that fits her perfectly. It's not the most expensive or the most fashionable, but it's enough to make her feel like she belongs, at least for one night. When the day of the event arrives, Emily is a bundle of nerves. She gets ready, her heart pounding as she carefully applies makeup and styles her hair. She barely recognizes the woman in the mirror. She looks more put together than she has in years. She feels a sense of pride, but also a deep sense of insecurity. What will Jake think of her now? Will he still see her as the same person he once knew, or will he only see the woman she has become? When Emily arrives at the event, she's overwhelmed by the sheer opulence of it all. The venue is magnificent, with tall marble columns, sparkling chandeliers, and elegantly dressed guests mingling with glasses of champagne in hand. She feels out of place, but she pushes the feeling down. She's here to see Jake, to reconnect with him, and nothing else matters. She searches the room, her eyes scanning the crowd, until she spots him across the room, standing tall and confident, talking to a group of people. He's surrounded by suits and high society, and he looks every bit the CEO he is. When he sees her, his eyes light up, and for a brief moment it feels like nothing has changed. He walks over to her, his smile warm and genuine. "Emily," he says, his voice soft, "I'm so glad you could make it." She smiles nervously, her heart racing. "Thank you for inviting me," she replies. "This is incredible," he chuckles, glancing around. "Yeah, It's a bit overwhelming, isn't it? But I'm glad you're here. It means a lot to me. They stand there for a moment exchanging pleasantries, but Emily can't shake the feeling that they are from two different worlds. She's trying her best to fit in, to seem at ease, but the contrast between their lives is undeniable. As the night goes on, they talk, laugh, and reconnect in ways that feel both familiar and foreign. It's a night full of mixed emotions, and as they part ways, Emily feels both closer to Jake than ever and more distant than she ever thought possible. She leaves the event with her heart full of questions. Where do they go from here? What happens next? And most importantly, can they ever truly be together again? Or has time and circumstance changed everything between them? The next few days after the gala pass in a blur for Emily. She can't shake the feelings that the night stirred inside her. The event was beautiful, yes, but it was also a reminder of just how different their lives have become. Jake is a CEO now, surrounded by wealth and status, while she's still fighting just to get by. She's grateful for the invitation, but she can't help but feel that something has shifted between them. They've reconnected, yes, but the distance between their worlds feels greater than ever. It's not just the lavish setting of the gala that makes her feel out of place. It's the realization that Jake's life is a world apart from hers. He's no longer the man she once loved, the man who dreamed of a future with her. He's someone new, someone successful and powerful, someone who belongs to that world. And then there's her stuck in the everyday grind, struggling to pay rent, juggling a job and raising her son. Can they really find their way back to each other? Or is the gap between them too wide to bridge? Emily can't stop asking herself these questions. Every time her phone buzzes, her heart skips a beat, hoping it's Jake reaching out again. But it's never him. It's the bills, the reminders that life goes on, regardless of the past. She can't afford to get lost in the fantasy of what might have been. She has to stay grounded, for her son's sake. But even so, a part of her can't help but wonder if there's more to this connection than just a brief meeting. A few weeks pass, and life continues. Emily gets up every day, works long shifts, and spends time with her son. Yet, despite her best efforts to stay focused, Jake keeps creeping into her thoughts. Her son notices, of course. "Mom, why are you always thinking about him?" he asks one evening as they're eating dinner. Emily smiles softly, brushing a stray lock of hair out of her face. "I'm not thinking about him, sweetie," she says, but her voice betrays her. "It's just sometimes. Things from the past pop up, and it makes me think." Her son nods, accepting her answer, though she can tell he's not entirely convinced. The truth is, Emily doesn't know how to explain it. She's torn between the reality of her life and the pull of something she's not sure she can have anymore. The old Emily would have made it work with Jake, but this new Emily doesn't have the luxury of dreams anymore. She has bills to pay, a child to raise, and a future to build. One afternoon, as Emily is sitting in the park trying to catch a break from her hectic day, she gets a text. It's from Jake again. "I know things have been crazy, but I can't stop thinking about our time together. I'd really like to see you again if you're open to it. There's a charity event coming up, and I'd love for you to join me. It's casual, I promise. Let me know if you're free." Emily stares at the message for a long time, her mind spinning. Another invitation to see him, another chance to reconnect, but this time she's more hesitant. Is she ready to go back to that world, to Jake's world? Or is it just going to make things harder for both of them? She sets her phone down, taking a deep breath. For a moment, she contemplates ignoring the message, convincing herself that she doesn't need the complication. But a small part of her, the part that's still holding on to the idea of what might be, decides to respond. "I'd love to come," she types, her fingers trembling as she presses send. Her heart races as she waits for his reply. When he responds with a simple "Great, I'll send the details soon," Emily feels a mixture of excitement and fear. What is she doing? But she knows she can't back out now. She has to face this, whatever it is. The day of the event arrives, and Emily feels the familiar nervousness creeping in. She's never been to anything like this before. Another high society event where she feels like an outsider. But this time, she's more determined. She's not going to let herself shrink back. She dresses carefully, choosing an outfit that makes her feel confident, yet still true to herself. When she arrives at the venue, she's struck by the opulence of it all. It's even more extravagant than the last event, with grand chandeliers, marble floors, and people dressed in the latest fashions. It's easy to feel like she doesn't belong. She tries to keep her head high, reminding herself that she's here for Jake. When she finally spots him, he's standing across the room, talking to a group of people. He looks every bit the successful businessman, polished, confident, and well-dressed. But when their eyes meet, everything else fades away. He's smiling at her, and for a moment, she feels like the years have melted away. They walk toward each other, and for the first time in a long time, Emily feels a spark of hope. Maybe this is what she's been waiting for. Maybe there's still a chance for them. As they start talking, everything else feels secondary. The world around them fades, and it's just the two of them, reconnecting once again. But this time, it's different. She's no longer the young woman he knew, and he's no longer the man she left behind. But maybe, just maybe, they can still find a way back to each other. The next few weeks pass in a blur of emotions for Emily. Every time she looks at her phone, her heart skips a beat, hoping for another message from Jake. But each time, it's just the usual reminders: work, bills, and the constant pressure of life as a single mom. She tries to focus on her son, on the routine she's built to keep things steady. But it's hard to shake the feeling that something significant is happening. The gala, the coffee meetings, the events, they've all shifted something inside her. For the first time in a long time, she wonders if there's more to life than just surviving. Could there really be a second chance for her and Jake? She pushes the thought aside, telling herself that it's just wishful thinking, but a small part of her can't help but dream. The day she's been dreading arrives. It's the day she has to make a decision about the job offer she received from Jake's company. When she first saw the email, she nearly deleted it on instinct. It felt too big, too far out of reach for someone like her. But the more she thought about it, the more it seemed like an opportunity she couldn't pass up. She could finally get a fresh start, move beyond the confines of her current life, and maybe, just maybe, prove to herself that she's capable of more. But there's another part of her, the part that's been hurt, that's been broken by life, that wonders if she's just setting herself up for disappointment. Can she really work in Jake's world, a world so different from the one she knows? Can she handle the expectations, the pressures, the life that comes with being in his orbit? Her heart tells her to take the leap, to trust that this could be her moment, but her mind is full of doubts. It's not just about the job, it's about her own self-worth. She's been living in survival mode for so long that she's forgotten what it's like to dream, to feel like she belongs somewhere other than her small apartment. She sits at her kitchen table one afternoon, staring at the offer letter, her hands trembling. Her son is playing in the background, oblivious to the turmoil she's facing. He's so young, so innocent, and she wants to make the right decision for him, for both of them. She picks up the phone and dials Jake's number. The moment it rings, she regrets it. What is she even going to say? She waits, her breath caught in her throat, until he picks up. "Hey, Emily." Jake's voice is warm, calm, and it instantly puts her at ease. "How are you?" She pauses, swallowing the lump in her throat. "I'm good. I just wanted to talk to you about the job offer," she says, her voice shaking slightly. I'm not sure if I can do it. It feels like such a big step, and I'm not sure if I'm ready for all that comes with it." Jake's silence on the other end of the line is comforting, not judgmental. "I get it," he says after a beat. "It's a lot to take in. But I know you, Emily. I know you're stronger than you think. You've got everything it takes to succeed, and I believe in you." His words bring tears to her eyes. She hasn't heard someone believe in her like that in so long. It's been so easy to feel like she's just getting by, like she's not enough. But Jake's belief in her is a reminder that maybe she's capable of more than she realizes. "I don't want to disappoint you," she says softly, her voice barely above a whisper. "I don't want to let anyone down." Jake laughs softly, the sound comforting. "Emily, you're not disappointing anyone. Not me, not yourself. You've already proven so much just by getting this far. You've already done the hardest part, believing that you can. Now, all you have to do is take the next step. I'll be here to support you no matter what you decide." Emily takes a deep breath, letting his words wash over her. She has to make the decision for herself, not just for him or anyone else. She's been holding herself back for so long, and maybe it's time to stop letting fear dictate her choices. She glances over at her son, who's now sitting on the floor, playing with his toys. He looks up at her and smiles, his innocence reminding her of why she has to keep going, why she has to show him that anything is possible. "Okay," she says, finally making her decision. "I'll take the job. Jake's voice is filled with pride as he responds. "That's awesome, Emily. I knew you could do it. I'm proud of you." The weight she's been carrying for so long suddenly feels lighter, and for the first time in a long time, she feels like she's made a decision that's not just about surviving but about thriving. She hangs up the phone, a small smile tugging at the corner of her lips. She's nervous, yes, but she's also ready. Ready for the challenges, the risks, and the opportunities that lie ahead. She knows that this is just the beginning of something bigger, something that could change everything. As she looks at her son again, she feels a renewed sense of hope. She's not just doing this for herself anymore, she's doing it for him too. And with that thought, she steps into the unknown, ready to embrace whatever comes next. Emily feels a mix of excitement and nervousness as she steps into her new role at Jake's company. The first day is a whirlwind of introductions, paperwork, and getting familiar with the office. She can barely keep up with all the new information, but the challenge excites her. For the first time in a long time, she feels like she's finally moving forward. She can't help but think about how far she's come since that first meeting with Jake at the airport. The woman who barely had enough to get by is now working at a successful company, surrounded by people who are driven and ambitious. It's intimidating, but it also feels like the beginning of something new and transformative. As the day goes on, Emily's mind races with possibilities. She has moments of self-doubt, wondering if she's truly capable of thriving in this environment. But then, she remembers Jake's words, "You've got everything it takes to succeed." She repeats them to herself, reminding herself that she belongs here just as much as anyone else. When the day ends, she feels a strange sense of accomplishment. She's exhausted, but it's a good kind of tired, the kind that comes from pushing yourself beyond your limits and discovering that you can handle more than you thought possible. The next few weeks are challenging. Emily throws herself into her work, tackling tasks with determination and a growing sense of competence. But there are moments when she feels overwhelmed, like she's in way over her head. The pressure of keeping up with her new role, balancing her responsibilities at home, and adjusting to the corporate world feels like a lot to handle at once. One evening, after a particularly grueling day at work, she finds herself sitting in the car outside her apartment, tears threatening to spill. She's exhausted, both physically and emotionally, and for a moment, she feels like everything is unraveling. She reaches for her phone, thinking of texting Jake, but hesitates. She's not sure if she's ready to let him see this side of her, the side that feels uncertain, the side that wonders if she's truly cut out for this life. But after a moment of hesitation, she sends him a simple message. "I'm struggling a bit. Not sure I'm cut out for all this." The response is quick, as always. "Hey Emily, I know it's tough. But remember why you're here. You've already made it this far, and I know you can keep going. I believe in you." His words bring a sense of comfort, even if they don't completely take away the doubt. She wipes her tears and takes a deep breath, deciding to face the challenges head-on. She can't give up now. A few days later, she's back at the office, tackling her tasks with renewed focus. The doubts still linger, but she's learning to push them aside, choosing instead to trust in her abilities. Slowly but surely, she's starting to feel more comfortable in her role. One afternoon, as she's working late, Jake stops by her desk. He gives her a warm smile, his eyes full of encouragement. "How's everything going?" he asks, leaning against the edge of her desk. Emily looks up, surprised to see him, but she smiles back. "It's going well. I'm getting there, one step at a time." Jake nods, his expression approving. "I knew you would," he says. "You were doing great, Emily." She feels a rush of gratitude at his words, knowing that, despite all her fears, she's starting to prove to herself that she's capable of so much more than she ever gave herself credit for. As the weeks turn into months, Emily begins to settle into her new life. She's still facing challenges, but now she knows she can handle them. Her relationship with Jake grows stronger as they continue to work together, and their bond deepens. There are moments when she still feels like an outsider in his world, but she's learning to accept that she's worthy of being there. One evening, after a long day at work, Jake invites her to dinner. She's hesitant at first, unsure if it's appropriate to mix their professional relationship with something more personal, but she agrees. The dinner is simple, but it's filled with laughter and conversation, and by the end of the night, Emily realizes that she's not just falling for the man she once knew, but for the man he's become. He's still kind, still caring, but now he's also someone who's built something amazing, someone who's reached heights she never thought possible. As they say goodbye outside the restaurant, Jake takes her hand in his grip warm and reassuring. "I'm really proud of you, Emily," he says softly. "You've come so far." She smiles, feeling a rush of emotions. "I never thought I'd get here," she admits. "But I'm glad I did." They stand there for a moment, just looking at each other, and for the first time in a long time, Emily feels like she's exactly where she's supposed to be. She's not just surviving anymore, she's thriving. And it's all because she decided to take that first step toward something better. With Jake by her side, she knows that anything is possible. The future looks bright, and for the first time in a long time, she feels ready to embrace it. As the months continue to pass, Emily's life begins to shift in ways she never expected. She's become more confident in her role at the company, and the fears and doubts that once plagued her start to fade. She's no longer the same woman who walked into that office on her first day, unsure of herself and her place in this new world. Now, she's making waves, tackling challenges with determination and a newfound sense of self-worth. Her relationship with Jake has also grown stronger. They spend more time together, not just as colleagues but as friends who've reconnected after years of separation. There's a comfort between them now, a shared understanding that transcends the professional boundaries they once maintained. Still, Emily can't help but feel the growing attraction between them. Jake is more than just a former love. He's someone who has seen her at her lowest and cheered her on through her highest. His belief in her has been a constant source of strength, and the more time they spend together, the more she realizes that the spark they once had is still there. But as much as Emily wants to give in to her feelings, she can't ignore the fear that holds her back. She's afraid of getting too close, of losing herself in the whirlwind of emotions that come with rekindling an old relationship. She's been hurt before, and she's not sure she's ready to open her heart again. So she keeps her distance, even though every moment with Jake feels like a reminder of the love that might still exist between them. One afternoon, while they're working late together, Jake looks at her with a seriousness she's not used to. "Emily," he says softly, "I know we've been working together for a while now, but there's something I've been meaning to ask you." Her heart skips a beat as she looks up from her desk. She's not sure what to expect, but she knows that whatever it is, it's important. "What's on your mind?" she asks, trying to keep her voice steady. Jake takes a deep breath before speaking again. "I know this might sound sudden, but I've been thinking a lot about us. About everything that's happened over the years. And I want to be honest with you." Emily feels her stomach flip. She's not sure what he's going to say, but she knows it's something significant. "Jake," she starts, her voice trembling. "I don't know what you mean. We've both been through so much." He smiles gently, stepping closer to her desk. "I know, but I can't keep pretending like I don't feel something for you. I've always felt something for you. Even when we were apart, even when I thought I'd moved on." Emily's breath catches in her throat. She wasn't expecting this, not like this. "Jake, I don't," he interrupts her gently, placing a hand on hers. "I'm not asking you to say anything right now. I just needed to be honest with you. I've been scared too, Emily. Scared of the past, scared of what could happen if we try again. But I don't want to live with the what-ifs anymore." Emily sits in stunned silence for a moment, the weight of his words sinking in. She's always known there was something more between them, but hearing Jake say it out loud makes everything feel real in a way it never did before. She's scared too, scared of opening herself up to him again, scared of the possibility of heartbreak. But as she looks at Jake, she sees the sincerity in his eyes, the same sincerity that first drew her to him years ago. She can feel the walls she's built around her heart slowly start to crumble. "Jake," she whispers, her voice barely above a breath. "I've been scared too. I've been scared of letting myself feel again, of letting myself hope." He smiles softly, his hand still resting on hers. "We don't have to figure everything out right now. All I know is that I want to try again. I want to see where this can go, together." Emily's heart races as she looks into his eyes, the uncertainty fading as she realizes that maybe, just maybe, they can make this work. The fear still lingers, but it's no longer paralyzing. She's ready to take a chance on love again, to let herself open up to the possibility of a future with Jake. And for the first time in a long time, she feels like she deserves it. "Okay," she says softly, a smile tugging at her lips. "Let's try again, together." As the words leave her lips, she feels a sense of relief wash over her. The weight she's been carrying for so long feels lighter, and for the first time in months, she's excited about the future. She doesn't know what will happen next, but she's ready to face it head on, with Jake by her side. The past may have shaped them, but it won't define their future. Together, they'll create something new, something worth fighting for. And as they walk out of the office together, hand in hand, Emily realizes that the future is full of endless possibilities. As the weeks go by, Emily feels like she's finally finding her rhythm. Her professional life continues to flourish, and her personal life with Jake is growing in ways she never expected. They spend more time together, both at work and outside of it, getting to know each other again, discovering the people they've become since they first met. Every day feels like a new chapter, and Emily finds herself falling deeper into the connection she once thought was lost forever. But even as things are going well, there's a part of her that's still uncertain. The fear of the unknown, the fear of getting hurt again lingers in the back of her mind. She's come so far, built so much of her life on her own, and she wonders if she's ready to let someone else in, truly let them in, without the guard she's so carefully built around herself. Jake notices the subtle distance, the moments where Emily seems to pull back, but he doesn't push her. He's patient, understanding, and he knows that the road to healing isn't always straightforward. One evening, as they sit together on the couch at her apartment, Jake gently reaches for her hand. "Emily," he says softly, his voice sincere, "I know you've been through a lot, and I'm not asking for anything you're not ready for, but I want you to know that I'm here. I'm here, not just for the good times, but for everything, whatever comes next. I just need you to trust me, even when it feels scary." Emily looks at him, her heart full. His words reach deep into her, and for the first time she feels like she can truly let go of the fears that have held her back for so long. "I want to trust you," she says quietly, her voice barely above a whisper. "But it's hard, Jake. It's hard to let someone in when you've been hurt before." "I'm still learning how to let go of the past," Jake nods, squeezing her hand. "I know, and I'm not asking you to forget. I'm just asking for the chance to prove that we can make something good out of what we have now. We don't have to rush anything, Emily. We'll take it one step at a time, together." She feels the weight of his words, the honesty in his voice, and in that moment, she knows that he's right. There's no need to rush. There's no need to have all the answers right now. What matters is that they're willing to take that first step, and then the next, together. The next few months bring more moments of connection and growth. They take things slow, letting their relationship build naturally, without the pressure of expectations or the weight of past mistakes. They enjoy the small moments cooking dinner together, talking about their dreams, laughing at inside jokes that only the two of them share. Emily starts to feel like she's finally found her balance, a place where she can be both the woman she was before and the woman she's becoming. Her son, too, begins to feel more comfortable with Jake, and the three of them form a bond that feels stronger with each passing day. One day, while they're out on a walk in the park, Jake turns to Emily with a serious expression. "I've been thinking a lot about us," he says, taking her hand in his. "And I know we've talked about taking things one day at a time, but I can't help but think about the future. I want you to know that I'm in this. I'm in this for the long haul. And I hope you are too." Emily feels a rush of emotions as she hears his words. For so long she's been afraid of the future, afraid of making the wrong choice, afraid of falling in love again. But with Jake, it's different. The fear is still there, but it's no longer paralyzing. "I'm in this too," she says, her voice steady. "I'm ready to see where this goes, Jake. I'm ready to take the next step with you." Jake smiles, a look of relief and happiness crossing his face. He pulls her into a hug, and for a moment, everything feels perfect. The past may have shaped them, but it doesn't have to define them. Together, they've built something new, something strong, something worth fighting for. And for the first time in a long time, Emily feels like she's truly found a place where she belongs. With Jake, with her son, and with herself, she knows that the future is full of possibilities. They've come this far, and they're ready for whatever comes next. As they continue their walk, hand in hand, Emily feels a sense of peace settle over her. She doesn't have all the answers, but she knows that, with Jake by her side, she doesn't need to. Together, they'll face whatever challenges come their way, and together, they'll build a future that's better than anything either of them could have imagined alone. As time continues to pass, Emily and Jake grow even closer. Their relationship has transformed from a tentative reconnection into something solid, something neither of them expected, but both now cherish. Emily's days at the company become more fulfilling, and she starts to thrive in her role, gaining the confidence she once thought she lacked. With Jake by her side, she begins to see a future full of potential, A future she can build not just for herself, but for her son as well. Her relationship with Jake has blossomed, but it's not just about the two of them. They've formed a little family, with her son growing more comfortable around Jake, and Emily finding a balance between her personal life and professional success. There are still moments of doubt, moments when Emily wonders if she's truly deserving of all the good things that have come her way. But each time those thoughts creep in, she remembers how far she's come, how much strength she's shown, how much she's overcome. She remembers Jake's words, his belief in her, and it gives her the courage to keep going. One evening, after a long day, Jake invites her to a quiet dinner at his favorite restaurant. It's their first dinner out together in weeks, and the atmosphere is warm, comfortable, and intimate. They sit across from each other, the candlelight flickering softly between them as they talk about everything: work, dreams, the future. Jake reaches across the table, taking her hand in his. His touch is gentle, and Emily feels a sense of peace wash over her, knowing that they've both come a long way since they first reconnected. "Emily," Jake says, his voice soft but filled with emotion, "I've been thinking a lot lately, and I want you to know something." Emily looks up at him, a soft smile on her face. "What is it?" she asks, her heart beating a little faster. "I know we've been through a lot, both of us, and I know things haven't always been easy," Jake continues, his eyes locked on hers. "But I want to spend the rest of my life with you. I want to build a future with you. I love you, Emily." Emily's breath catches in her throat. For a moment, she's speechless, overwhelmed by the depth of his words. She never imagined she would be here, sitting across from the man she once thought she lost forever, hearing him say the words she never thought she would hear. Tears well up in her eyes as she smiles at him, her heart full of emotion. "I love you too, Jake," she whispers, her voice thick with emotion. "I've never been more sure of anything in my life." And in that moment, everything falls into place. The fear, the doubts, the years of uncertainty, they all fade away as Emily realizes that she's exactly where she's meant to be. With Jake, with her son, with a life she's built through strength, love, and resilience. After dinner, as they walk hand in hand through the quiet streets, Emily feels a sense of contentment that she hasn't known in a long time. They don't have all the answers, but they don't need them. They have each other, and that's enough. The future is still unknown, full of twists and turns, but for the first time, Emily feels ready to face it, knowing that no matter what happens, she's not alone. Jake stops and turns to her, a soft smile on his face. "You know," he says, "I've always believed that life is about the choices we make. And the best choice I ever made was asking you to meet me at that airport." Emily laughs softly, her heart swelling with affection. "I'm glad you did," she says, her voice full of warmth. "I wouldn't be here without that moment." Jake pulls her into a gentle hug, holding her close as the world around them fades into the background. In that moment, Emily feels like everything is falling into place. The love she thought she lost, the life she thought she would never have, it's all here now, and it's all so much better than she ever imagined. As they pull away from the hug, Jake looks at her with a glimmer of mischief in his eyes. "So," he says with a playful grin, "are you ready to take on this adventure with me?" Emily smiles, feeling a sense of excitement for the future that she never thought she would have again. "I am," she replies. "I'm ready." Together, they walk into the future, hand in hand, ready for whatever comes next, knowing that the love they share will see them through it all.